Didn't he break every bone in his face, James?
Oh, yeah, he broke every bone in his face. I think pretty much every bone throughout his body, but not at once. But yeah.
Yeah, but that one time, that car accident, I mean, he was dead for like, was it 10, 15 minutes? And then all of a sudden, they actually was shocked. He was totally dead. And then all of a sudden, he came back to life on his own. That is really scary.
Yeah. It was really scary. He was dead for I think it was more than 10 minutes actually, and he came right back in his body, and all at once was back in. It was like bam. And the one time he couldn't even walk. Remember, they said he could never walk again. He was determined to walk out of that hospital, and he told us a story how he walked out of the hospital. He didn't get very far, but he did it.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. He died like 6 times, totally dead 6 times. And out of the 6 times, he came back on his own twice. And I tell you, for somebody to die that many times, I'm surprised he can even function, because I don't think I myself could function after that. I'd be so messed up emotionally that I'd be scared to death even to leave the front room.
I think that's pretty, shocking. Shocking. He's got more lives than a cat.
That's what we were saying on the show. I mean, it's,
my gosh. Now, another time, I forgot to tell you, would you like to hear what happened when I was a kid?
Yeah, certainly. That's what you're on here for.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I am a horse crazy woman. I had, and plus, even if after my accident in 19, I went to have a horse farm and horses in Kentucky where I live now, and I had a big horse farm. So I love them. But when I was a little girl, I went out to a stable that I had never been to before, and I was put on a horse that was too much for me. And I was just a little thing at 12, and the horse took off, and it went down. I was in Ormond Beach, Florida, and it was like on Airport Road there. The horse just went like a rocket out onto the highway. And the road had just had tar on it, and it was 95 degrees, so it was like those hooves connected like black ice. Well, the horse was going so fast and trying to turn, it sort of went up in the air, and as it did, like a foot or so, I left my body like a slingshot, and I was hovering or standing or midair about 12 or 16 feet away from my body, and I could see the horse, and I could see the wave in my long brown hair and my green tank top, and I could even make out the dried pine needles on the pine trees near the road. And then I was like a slingshot out, slingshot back. Then the horse crushed me. It fell on top of me on the road. That was grisly. It was such a gory accident. I won't go into details, but I was very lucky to keep my leg. It was pretty bad, and I was very seriously hurt, and so I literally went out of body just before the accident, but I didn't have any psychic abilities afterwards or have any great epiphanies. I tried to tell my mom, but I was embarrassed because I was afraid she thought I was fibbing or exaggerating, because, 12-year-old girls are pretty dramatic. So I kept it to myself. So that was pretty shocking as a kid.
That would be emotionally real hard to go through, especially keeping it to yourself.
Yeah, I was seriously injured, too. My leg was crushed.
I got to say, you definitely got back up on the horse again a few times from the sounds of it. At least you didn't let that deter you.
I just loved horses, and I went on to get a horse when I was in my 20s. He was like the muse for most of my novels, and he was a giant lap dog in a horse costume, and he was fantastic, the love of my life. So I love animals. When he died in 2012, I let go of the farm. I sold the farm. I was out of horses, and I'm not doing it again. But, I got clobbered a few times, but I rode, hundreds of times without a scratch. So that all evens out. It's a very dangerous sport to be in with.
Interesting. Now, James, you got some questions you can ask?
Yeah, when your favorite horse died there, did he come back in spirit, or have you ever seen any spirit animals?
Yes. Yes, I
Let's
have.
hear about that. Well, tell us.
Well, there was one touching thing. I had a cat. My childhood boyfriend, Richard Black, gave me a cat when I was in second grade, and her name was, of course, it's so original, Puff. I had Puff for 19 years, and I was married and living in New York with my husband, and Mother and Daddy had Puff, and, they had to put her down because, she was 19 and she had a lot of health problems, and it's very sad, but that evening, my husband and I went out to a big event and had too much to drink, and he passed out in the bed, and I'm in my bedroom, and I'm thinking, I'm sad because my cat died earlier that day, and I felt bad about it. All of a sudden, I felt I wasn't alone. And then I looked up, and there was this beautiful white, translucent, well, kind of dense and translucent ball that drifted in to my bedroom, and I thought, oh my gosh. So, I got out, it was right above where I had my makeup table, and I got I stood on the chair so that I could get closer to it because I wasn't afraid at that point. I was so excited to see it, and it was about the size of a volleyball, and you could just, it was like a three-dimensional thing, and there was like a little sparkly white thing in the center, and it animated, and there was an energy to it, and as I was looking at it, I could see in my mind, like telepathically, not in the actual ball, my cat as a kitten, and heard a meow like that. So I had a vision of her standing on the lawn on Banyan Drive where I grew up, my childhood home, and I just thought, wow. And she was there for a while, and then after about 5 or 6 minutes, she started to get, sort of like a bulb, dimming, just less and less and less and less, and then it was gone. But I thought, wow, what a beautiful experience. What a gift.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, you're a horse. Did he come back in spirit too?
Yes.
Oh, what was that like?
Emotional. I don't even think I can talk about it with you guys without crying. And I don't want to, it was too emotional I love that. I love that horse more than I love my husband or most people on this earth. But he did touch. I was able to connect with him after he died, and I can't really talk about it on the air. I get choked up, but it was beautiful.
Well,
and to know that there's not an ending, there's a continuation of existence.
There is.
It's beautiful.
There is. I had a little dog, part terrier, part poodle. Had the dog for almost 20 years. The last 2 years I had the dog, it was totally blind and had to be in diapers. And the day it died, I had it in my arms. It was emotional, big time. I think James knows about it. I could not even hardly do the show that night. But it was funny. Like the next night, me and my wife were in bed, and the dog would lay down by our feet and then creep all the way up and share my pillow with me. He waited in little spurts, okay? And he would do it, like a foot, till he got up to, where the pillow was. He snuck. Well, the next night after he died, I swear to God, I felt the bed kind of sink in, okay? And then I felt something creeping up between me and my wife, like about a foot at a time. And then I had my head on the pillow, and then I felt my pillow kind of squish down. And then I looked, and he wasn't there. That went on for almost a month. And then one day, it stopped. So I think he was giving me closure that I needed, because that dog and me that was the closest friend I had next to James in my life.
Yeah, I remember that. And didn't you have another pet that had another experience also, didn't you?
Yeah, and it's hard to go through it. Because you love them, regardless if it's a human or a dog or a horse. By the way, we have 2 mini horses here, and we got a mini goat, which was supposed to be a mini goat, but it turned out to be a full-size goat. But, through the years, we've lost some real pets that were really close to us. And I tell you, I've only had one animal that I felt connection with after it passed.
Yeah,
wow.
They're like family.
Isn't that beautiful too? They will be there for you when you make your transition. And there's no elapsed time, like, a fading of the love is just as intense as when they passed. So that's a comfort, I believe.
Well, it lets me know there's more after when an animal or a human passes. There's still something there, and I really, to this day, I felt that the dog knew I needed closure, and maybe the dog still needed closure, and we connected every night for almost a month. But then one day he was gone. Now we just lost another dog. We had for 19 years. And it passed in my arms here a week and a half ago. But, I was waiting to see if I was going to have the same thing happen, because it slept in our bed too. Nothing ever happened. It was just like dog died and that's it. But it was really weird to go for that experience. It made me open my eyes up and realize there's more to life than we realize.
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. It's quite a sobering experience when you really experience something from non-physical reality kind of coming into physical reality. That's the best way I explain it. When you die and come back after a near-death experience, it doesn't open up the door to the other side. It just opens it up a crack.
I think so. I just feel sorry for, and James, you know it, I feel sorry for these people that are trapped and didn't go into the tunnel or into the light, that are still trapped, earthbound.
Oh yeah. It's tragic. It happens for a whole plethora of reasons. Maybe they didn't know they died, or maybe they're afraid they're going to go to hell. There's all kind of reasons why they may not cross over or whatnot. But then there's kind of like stuck earthbound until maybe somebody can help them cross over or whatnot. And that's where you come across a lot of places being haunted, and maybe they're attached too much to a person, place, or thing to even want to cross over, whatever the reason is. But sometimes they don't. And unfortunately, when you don't, you're kind of stuck until you find somebody to help you cross over.
Now, is it possible, though, James, that somebody that didn't cross over after a certain a period of time will never be able to cross back over?
I don't know. We really don't know. I do think that sometimes once maybe some of them that are here, they didn't achieve or had to unfinished business. Maybe sometimes when they accomplish that, maybe something open up for them and they'll cross over. I wish I knew more information about it. I just know in my world, usually they're usually stuck here if they don't cross over. Unfortunately,
I don't think you might want to look. Let me just bend that a different way, if you don't mind me.
Oh, please do.
Interjecting.
Yeah.
Okay. We, as people, souls, we are immortal, spiritual beings taking the tour of physical reality. That's basically what's going on. Now, some people that might be stuck, or they're in the lower rings outside of physical reality. I think eventually, since, we've got eternity, I think eventually everybody basically graduates. It may take a lot of time, but remember, you come to, through physical reality, you take a lot of tours, a lot of reincarnations. Your soul fractures and goes into a lot of personalities. So you're going to be you helping you at some point in the future.
That is so well put. We're going to have to go on break, and we'll be back in 4 minutes, and then we'll end the conversation in about a half an hour, and we'll find out about her books. We'll be back in 4 minutes. You're listening to me, Gary, on Night Dreams Talk Radio.